Before we dive in, remember, truth hides in silence, and silence keeps secrets. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the silent witness as we uncover the stories they tried to bury. It began on a rain-soaked evening in Portland, Oregon, the kind of night where the streets gleamed like mirrors and every shadow felt alive. At exactly 9:47 p.m., a frantic 911 call came from an unregistered burner phone. The voice on the other end, distorted, panicked, repeated just 6 words before the line went dead.
He's gone.
They took everything. Please. Then silence. When officers arrived at the address traced to the call, they found the door wide open and the faint smell of burnt paper hanging in the air. Inside the 2-story Craftsman house on Maple Avenue, the lights flickered weakly. On the living room floor, surrounded by torn photographs and broken glass, lay a single shoe, women's size 7, covered in mud. Detective Eleanor Shaw stepped into the house first. 15 years on the force had taught her that the quiet ones, the scenes where nothing made sense, were the most dangerous. She scanned the room. No signs of struggle, no blood, but everything felt staged. On the kitchen counter sat a half-empty glass of red wine and a folded newspaper clipping with a headline from 3 years ago. Local journalist exposes corporate corruption. CEO resigns after scandal. The journalist in that photo was Anna Greer, a name that echoed through Shaw's memory. Anna had been fearless, relentless, a reporter who went after stories most people wouldn't touch. 2 years ago, she'd vanished without a trace. No leads, no body,
Just gone.
until tonight. In the basement, officers found something strange, a wall covered in corkboards, photos, and newspaper clippings strung together with red thread. In the center was a photo of Anna herself, circled in black marker. Beneath it, scrawled in trembling handwriting, "She knew too much." The next morning, the crime scene unit combed the property. No fingerprints, no forced entry. Whoever had been there knew what they were doing. But on the back porch, hidden under the rain gutter, a tech officer recovered a small USB drive, water-damaged but intact. When they plugged it in back at the precinct, the screen filled with hundreds of encrypted files, audio recordings, interview notes, and one labeled The Silent Witness. Detective Shaw clicked play. A woman's voice, steady but tired, spoke softly through static. "If you're hearing this, I've failed. They found me, but the truth is in the recordings. Don't trust anyone, not even those in uniform. Especially not him." Then another sound, footsteps, a door slamming, and a muffled scream. The file ended. Shaw sat frozen. The timestamp on the recording was 2 days ago. Anna Greer wasn't just a ghost from the past. She might still be alive. That night, as Shaw drove home, rain drumming against her windshield, she couldn't shake the words from the recording. She'd worked enough missing person cases to recognize fear, but there had been something else in Anna's voice. Resolve. As if she'd known this moment would come. At 1:23 a.m., Shaw's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "If you want to find Anna, go to Pier 47. Midnight. Come alone." The message deleted itself seconds later. Against every instinct, Shaw went. Pier 47 was abandoned, just warehouses, broken lights, and the low hum of the river. She parked near the edge, flashlight in hand, coat pulled tight against the wind. Then she saw it, a single car parked at the far end of the dock, engines still running. She approached cautiously, hand near her weapon. Inside the car sat a man slumped over the steering wheel, motionless. Shaw tapped the glass, no response. She opened the door. The man was dead. His ID identified him as Evan Trask, a private investigator. On the passenger seat lay a small recorder and an envelope labeled, "To whoever finds this." Shaw pressed play on the recorder. "Detective Shaw, if you're hearing this, you're already in danger." Anna's story was never about corruption. It was about something much bigger. She uncovered something that links government contracts, missing journalists, and a pharmaceutical company named Rexton Industries. They'll do anything to keep it quiet.
Don't.
The recording cut off abruptly. A sound echoed behind her, A footstep on wet concrete. Shaw turned, flashlight slicing through the mist. A silhouette stood about 20 feet away, watching. Then another light blinked to life, her own car's taillights. The engine started. Someone was in her vehicle. She sprinted forward, shouting, but the car roared away into the fog. Her phone, badge, everything gone. Left behind, stuck on the dark pier, Shaw realized she'd just been played. Whoever had sent that text had known she'd come alone. She looked back at Trask's body and the envelope on the seat. With trembling hands, she tore it open. Inside were two items, a keycard with the Rexton Industries logo and a photograph. The picture showed Anna Greer standing next to a man in a police uniform. His badge number was clear. It was Shaw's own partner, Detective Marcus Hale. Shaw's heart pounded as the implications sank in. The same man she trusted for over a decade had been part of the very case that haunted her for years. But before she could process the betrayal, her phone, still on the passenger floor of Trask's car, lit up. One final text flashed across the cracked screen.
She's alive.
But not for long. And just below it, a location pin, Rexton Industries Research Facility, 5 a.m. Shaw started running, the wind slicing across the empty dock. Every second mattered now. But what she didn't know was that someone was already waiting inside the facility. Someone who knew every step she was about to take. If you've made it this far, you're part of the investigation now. Hit subscribe and don't miss what comes next, because the deeper we go, the darker it gets. The Rexton Industries research facility stood like a sleeping beast at the edge of the city. 5 stories of concrete and glass, its logo barely visible through the early morning fog. Security lights blinked in rhythm, washing the rain-slick asphalt in cold blue light. Detective Eleanor Shaw sat in an unmarked car across the street, staring through binoculars at the silent building. The timestamp on Anna Greer's message said 5 a.m. It was now 4:52. She'd called for backup once, but halfway through the call, she'd stopped herself. Marcus Hale was still on duty tonight, and if he was part of this, she couldn't risk letting anyone know. She checked her weapon, tightened her coat, and stepped out into the rain. Inside Rexton's gates, everything felt off. The guard booth was empty, the cameras pointed down, as if someone had disabled the system from the inside. The facility's main doors were slightly ajar. She slipped in quietly, flashlight in hand. The air was heavy with chemicals and silence. Rows of laboratory equipment glimmered under the faint emergency lights. Every surface looked too clean, too controlled, like a crime scene scrubbed before the cops arrived. Then a faint sound, a soft hum. She followed it down a narrow corridor until she reached a door labeled Sublevel 3, Restricted Access. The keycard from Evan Trask's envelope beeped green. Inside, the temperature dropped. The hum grew louder. And then she saw it. Rows of locked freezers, each tagged with barcodes. A small workstation with scattered papers. And on the far wall, a bulletin board covered in photos, maps, and ID badges. Faces of journalists, whistleblowers, and missing employees, all connected with red string. At the center, the words Project Silent Witness were scrawled in black marker. Her pulse quickened. Among the pinned photos was Anna Greer. Next to her image, another face Shaw recognized instantly. Marcus Hale. A metallic clang echoed down the corridor. Shaw drew her weapon, spinning toward the sound. "Anna," she whispered. No response. She moved carefully toward the noise, flashlight trembling slightly in her hand. Then, from behind a stack of equipment, a shadow moved. A woman emerged, disheveled, pale, but unmistakably her. Anna Greer. Her wrists were bruised, her eyes bloodshot, but she was alive. Shaw lowered her weapon.
Anna.
"You're safe. I'm Detective Shaw. I've been looking for you." Anna shook her head violently. "No one's safe here. You shouldn't have come." "What happened to you?"
Who did this?
Anna's voice cracked. "Rexton's been running illegal drug trials on people. Journalists who got too close, whistleblowers, even cops. They call it behavioral suppression research. They were developing a serum to erase memory so no one could testify against them." Shaw's stomach twisted. "And your investigation? I found proof, Anna said. I recorded everything. But before I could release it, someone inside leaked my location. They came for me. She paused, eyes darting toward the door. It was a cop. Your partner, Marcus Hale. He delivered me to them. The words hit like a bullet. Shaw felt her knees weaken. Marcus. Anna nodded. He's not just on their payroll. He's the one running their cover operations. Rexton's puppet in the department. Suddenly, the facility lights flickered to life. Bright, blinding white. A siren began to wail. Anna froze. They know we're here. Through the glass wall at the end of the corridor, Shaw saw figures in black tactical gear advancing. Back door. Shaw shouted. She grabbed Anna's arm and sprinted through the side exit, ducking into a maintenance tunnel. Gunfire echoed behind them. Short, sharp bursts. Bullets ricocheted off the metal walls as they ran. They reached a service hatch and burst into the open air behind the building, breathless and soaked from the rain. Anna pointed toward a nearby construction site. There. We can hide there. They ran, ducking under scaffolding and into a half-built concrete shell. The sirens faded behind them. For a moment, there was silence again, except for their ragged breathing. Shaw leaned against a wall, trying to piece everything together. Anna, those files, you said you had proof? Anna reached into her jacket and pulled out a small flash drive. Everything's on this. Names, experiments, payoffs. If we can get this to the press. A click interrupted her words. The sound of a gun being cocked. Shaw turned slowly. Standing just inside the shadows was Marcus Hale. He looked calm, rain dripping from his coat, his badge gleaming faintly under the construction lights. Eleanor, he said softly, you should have stayed out of this. Her weapon was already aimed at him, but his tone made her hesitate. Marcus, you set me up. You used me. He sighed, lowering his own gun slightly.
You don't understand.
You think this is about corruption? It's bigger than that. Rexton owns half the city. Every investigation, every leak, you can't stop them. You can only choose which side survives. Anna stepped forward, voice trembling. You sold lives for money. Marcus's eyes flicked toward her. I sold silence. Because silence keeps you alive. The words hung in the air, heavy and cold. Then, a sound echoed from behind, an approaching helicopter, spotlight sweeping across the half-built structure. Marcus looked up. They're here for her, he said, nodding toward Anna. You hand her over, Shaw, and we both walk away. Shaw's finger tightened on the trigger. Not this time. But before either could act, a sharp crack split the air, a rifle shot from somewhere above. Marcus jerked, clutching his shoulder, and fell. Anna screamed. Shaw spun around, scanning the upper floors. Another shot hit the concrete near her head. Whoever fired wasn't aiming to kill, yet. She grabbed Anna and dove behind a pile of construction debris. Run on my count, she hissed. Anna nodded, clutching the flash drive like it was her lifeline. 3, 2. Shaw didn't finish. A deafening explosion erupted near the scaffolding, sending debris raining down. The world spun in dust and chaos. When the smoke cleared, Anna was gone. Only the flash drive lay in the dirt, cracked but intact. And above the ringing in her ears, Shaw heard the faint buzz of a phone notification. Marcus's phone, lying beside him. On the screen was a single message. Phase 2 complete. Eliminate the witness. Shaw picked up the flash drive and staggered toward the exit, blood on her hands and smoke in the air. Somewhere in the distance, sirens began to wail again, this time getting closer. She had no backup, no trust left, and only one lead remaining. The truth wasn't just buried anymore. It was being erased. If you think you've seen it all, think again. What's coming next will change everything. Subscribe now because this story doesn't end here. The rain hadn't stopped. It was just past dawn, the sky a bruised gray as Detective Eleanor Shaw sped through the empty streets of Portland. The city looked different now, colder, quieter, as if it knew what she'd just uncovered. The cracked flash drive from the Rexton facility sat on the passenger seat, its indicator light still blinking faintly. Anna was gone. Marcus was bleeding out somewhere behind her, and the only person left who might help her decrypt what was inside was David Lang, a former FBI cyber analyst turned whistleblower. She pulled into a deserted parking lot behind a shuttered diner, heart pounding. David's old van was there, rusted, inconspicuous, engine running. Shaw stepped out, gripping the flash drive. The door to the van opened from the inside. "Eleanor Shaw," David said, his voice low. "I heard about the explosion. You shouldn't be here." "Anna Greer's alive," she said. Or she was. "She's got proof of Rexton's human experiments. This drive, she risked her life for it." David motioned her inside, quickly shutting the door. The back of the van looked like a mobile command center. Wires, screens, a generator humming softly. He plugged the flash drive into a secure terminal. Lines of code filled the monitor. Then audio files, videos, documents.
Hundreds of them.
David's eyes widened. She wasn't lying. These are internal memos. Rexton's behavioral suppression trials. MKI-09 serum. Classified experiments under federal funding. They've been dosing journalists, activists, even witnesses in criminal cases to erase memory fragments. Silencing without killing. Shaw felt sick. They're rewriting the truth. David nodded grimly. "And your partner, Marcus Hale, his name's in the payroll logs. He authorized extractions. That means he didn't just work with them. He recruited for them." Her throat tightened. "So, Anna, she was one of their test subjects?" David clicked into a folder marked Witness 07. A video file opened. The image was grainy, black and white. Anna Greer sat in a metal chair, strapped down. Electrodes covered her temples. A voice off camera asked, "Do you remember your name?" Anna hesitated, eyes unfocused. I don't know." The voice said, "Good. The process is working." Shaw slammed her fist on the table. "They erased her." David turned to her. "They tried. But if she escaped and found you, some of it came back. Enough to be dangerous." A knock echoed on the van's door, soft, deliberate. Both froze. David mouthed, "Don't move." He drew a small pistol and crept toward the door. "Who is it?" Shaw called out. A voice answered, calm, familiar, cold. "Eleanor, it's Marcus. We need to talk." David shook his head. "He tracked you here." The lock shattered before they could react. Marcus stepped inside, bandaged shoulder bleeding through his shirt, gun raised. "I didn't want it to end this way," he said, eyes locked on Shaw. "You should have trusted me." Shaw stood her ground. "You lied to me for years. You made me believe we were fighting the same fight." He lowered the gun slightly, face filled with something almost like regret. "You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to be part of them? They found me first, Shaw. They threatened my family. Rexton doesn't just kill people, they erase them. You don't even remember the ones who've disappeared." David lunged toward the laptop. Marcus fired, one shot, shattering the screen. Sparks flew. Shaw ducked, grabbing her sidearm. "Stop," she yelled. "No one else dies today." Marcus hesitated. "You still don't get it. You can't win this. That drive isn't proof, it's bait. They're watching it. The second you uploaded anything, they traced your location." David's eyes widened.
He's right.
"The signal's spiking. Someone's already triangulated us." Outside, engines roared. Black SUVs screeched to a stop, doors opening. Armed men poured out. "Give me the drive," Marcus said quietly. "I can make this disappear. I can protect you." Shaw stared at him, rainwater dripping from her hair. "Protect me? You sold every soul that trusted you." Before Marcus could respond, a bullet shattered the van's window. David screamed, ducking for cover. Shaw fired back through the glass. Marcus dove to the ground, grabbing the drive. In the chaos, he ran. "Marcus!" Shaw shouted, chasing him into the storm. They ran through the lot, between flickering streetlights. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus stumbled near the edge of the bridge, cornered. He turned, gun raised, breathing hard. "If they get this drive, it's over. You don't understand what's coming." Shaw leveled her weapon. "Then give it to me." He looked at her one last time, eyes filled with exhaustion. They built something worse than memory suppression. They're testing control, behavioral reprogramming, and it's already being used. Before she could react, he tossed the flash drive into the river and pulled the trigger. One shot. Marcus fell backward into the water. The world went still. Hours later, the sun broke through the clouds as Diverse pulled Marcus's body from the river. The drive was gone. Officially, the report would say officer's suicide following misconduct investigation. But Shaw knew better. She stood by the railing, watching the water churn. Somewhere in those depths was every truth they'd tried to hide. Every erased memory. Every silenced voice. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice, faint but unmistakable. Detective Shaw, it's Anna. I made it out. Shaw froze. Anna? Where are you? The voice was weak. They didn't stop it. Project Silent Witness is still active. They've moved to Europe. You have to find the files before they start again. The line crackled, then went dead. Shaw stared out over the river, the city awakening behind her. Somewhere out there, the truth was still buried, and now she was the last person who could dig it up. She whispered to herself, the silent witness isn't done speaking. Then she walked away, the rain finally stopping, leaving behind only the echo of everything she'd uncovered.